All right. Welcome to episode number 3 of the Talkin Gimmicks podcast. I am your host, Julio, and always by my side, Mr. Joey. How's it going?
Julio, Ryan,
and
Sunday morning.
Yeah, it's Sunday morning. What's up, Ryan?
Not much. Just chilling. Ready to talk some Joshi.
Yeah. So, as you guys, I don't know, you guys probably can't tell because this will be like on YouTube. It's Sunday and it's 8:20 Central Standard, which, that's when we're all caffeinated right now. It's 9 in Rochester. So, Ryan and I are pulling well, I think all of us, because 9 a.m. on Sunday is super early, right?
I was up late watching Luke Cage, so this is definitely
yeah,
I would have been awake.
Yesterday the Mets clinched the playoffs, and then I was playing FIFA till like 1:30 a.m. So, it's pretty early, but it's all good. We're trying to stay to the plan. Talk some wrestling with you guys, hang out for a bit, and then see where it goes. I mean, we're essentially the backyard wrestling podcast, right? Like, everyone has their fancy microphones, and look at my shitty camera, so shitty. But anyways,
I'm recording from my bed right now, so
I know that's baller. You Apple product people.
It's the bedside wrestling.
I have an Asus computer. I mean, the computer is good for work, but it sucks for everything else. So that's where we're at. So we've got our coffee. I just ate a maple bacon donut. I think we're ready to rock and roll, right? So we'll start kind of the usual format. We'll go through updates and whatnot, retro wrestling, Chikara episode of the week, and anything else in between. And if you're lucky enough, you'll get a shoot from Joey or two. So, and those are free. Those are no added cost to you guys. So it's all good. It's all good. So, Joey, we want to start with Clash of Champions, I guess, right? That was last weekend, the last big WWE event that happened.
Yeah, that was a Raw-only pay-per-view, right?
Yeah, sticking to the theme of pay-per-views every couple of weeks. I mean, what y'all think?
Pretty good show. Ryan, I don't think you caught it, right?
No.
I
did not.
New Day retained over the club. I kind of thought the club was going to go over, to be honest with you.
I did too, man. And it was just, I'm really so over that story between both of them.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I actually read something the other day. It's kind of spoiler heavy, but I don't know if I want to.
Just drop it. Just drop it.
I read an article that the New Day is going to retain for, I think, past Demolition's record, which is 478 days, and I want to say it comes up in December sometime. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see him hold on to the titles for a few more months. Wouldn't mind him losing them before then, but
I just feel like, I mean, the New Day is entertaining and fun, and don't get me wrong, I think it's good, but I feel like they tried to make the club into kind of a funny shtick too, to kind of foil the New Day's, goofiness with their own goofiness, and it just didn't work out right. I mean, I know, if you listen to any podcasts with Gallows and Anderson, I mean, they're funny dudes, but in the ring, I want them to be the badass Bullet Club, right?
Right.
So
yeah, funny story actually. One of my buddies who's really only into WWE, so right before the club was coming in, AJ Styles, I knew they were coming to WWE, so I put him over hard, man.
Mm-hmm.
I put him over hard as hell, and he just to this day doesn't get any of them. You know what I'm saying? Which I can kind of understand that, because if you've never seen any of them before, WWE, and this is the only thing you're seeing of the club, is with them doing the jars of whatever was even in the jars with the New Day, doing that whole segment and everything.
The old day stuff, which was soft.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of corny, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of hard to get over just to new people when they're doing a shtick like that. You know, I kind of want to see him like you were saying, like the New Japan, just Bullet Club, just nasty tag team, just sick, sick shit, and like, I don't know, man. WWE likes to put the cuffs on guys, you know.
Yeah. So, and the other, I guess, noteworthy item from that match was the New Day won with some shady tactics, right? With the Xavier Woods, hitting Machine Gun with the trombone, and that's how they got the pin. So, I mean, I know they were originally kind of as heels, now they're kind of faces, and this was kind of a heel ending. So, we'll see what they do with them. But for now, I think they need to move it. Like, they need to do something different with this tag team situation. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I agree.
The next match, we had the Cruiserweight Championship, which is TJ Perkins against Brian Kendrick. I mean, that was pretty good, right? I think, Brian Kendrick's whole Wizard of Oz thing was pretty interesting. And TJ Perkins, I get why he's the champ. He is pretty marketable, I think. And his intro is badass. It's like a, Mega Man video game-esque. Even the screen, like, they select him, and you see the HP bar and all that stuff. So it was pretty cool. Perkins tapped him out with the TJP clutch. And then, after the match, Perkins offered his hand, and then Kendrick, responded with a little headbutt to the face type situation.
Yeah, dirty heel move by Kendrick. But, I mean, I guess, like, with the size of him, he kind of has to stand out somehow, by doing this little crazy gimmick he's doing. Yeah. So I kind of dig it, man. I used to like him when he was back in WWE years ago. So it's good to see him back.
Cool. The only thing I think, because if I've noticed on Raw, like, and this is another thing that you, like, to your point, Joe, like, they have these cruiserweight matches, and they have all these great guys, like Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak, Rich Swann, all these good guys, and they put them on Raw. But the problem is just what you said. Most of the people that go to the shows aren't I would say aren't as in the know with a lot of these guys, careers, right? So, you put these guys that no one's ever seen and you throw them in a match, and, I just feel like the crowd isn't into it because they don't know who these guys are. They're not invested.
It's like you took them to Joshimania, man.
Yeah, they need to be taken to an all-women's show.
I'm just saying, if you don't know the competitors, like it's you get that awkwardness of a dead crowd.
Yeah. Well, that was Monday night on Raw. If you guys caught, I mean, really, getting away from that, but like during the 4-way match, which was Drew Gulak debut on Raw, which for us, I mean, we love Drew Gulak.
Would be huge.
Yeah.
So for us, like, we're excited. For all the community, we love it. But like for the majority of people, seeing him and Lince Dorado, they have no idea who those people are. Like Swann and Alexander, they saw him on previous Raw, so they kind of know him a little bit. But they were chanting CM Punk chants during that match. I don't know if you guys caught that.
I hate
so like
that makes me sick.
You bitch for something new, and then you finally get something new and you start chanting something old, and it's just like there's no winning nowadays. You know what I mean? It's disrespectful to me. Not only to them, those guys that put their lives and bodies on the line. You know what I mean? For these people. Yeah. So I hate seeing that shit.
Yeah, dude, and the CM Punk thing is over, man.
That's just ridiculous. Just get over that stuff,
Fuck that shit.
And that's the thing, right? Like, you can tell that, like, if you saw Twitter when Gulak made his debut, it blew up. There's a big following amongst, but the people who are quote unquote kind of like the rest of Twitter, it's really the minority, right? Like WWE's fan base it's people who don't know who these guys are, haven't seen, Chikara, CZW, whatever you want, whatever you want to call it. But I think they have to, if for the cruiserweight division, I think they're expecting these guys to wow with like their in-ring stuff. But the problem is, people, they want like stories and characters and things like that.
Yes, you have to get over his characters.
To be able to connect. And if you don't give these guys a chance and just throw them in the ring, you're setting them up for failure, I think. So
yeah,
hopefully we'll see something a little bit different there.
yeah. But back to the Clash of Champions, I guess. The next match was the match 7 in the best of 7 series between Cesaro and Sheamus, which I'm sick of this too, to be honest, man. It's almost like you know what it is? It's almost lazy booking. Not even almost. It is lazy booking. It's like, you know what? Well, let's get these two guys in a segment for – this has been 2 months now probably, right? Pretty close to.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, this is 7 matches. You got to figure 1 a week, so 7 weeks. And it ended in a no contest.
I will say, though, before we get into the ending, that was a really good match, though. Like,
it was a good match.
They beat the shit out of each other.
They got chemistry. Both guys are stiff. You know what I mean? And they're not afraid to lay them in, and they both take them.
Yeah. It was a very New Japan type match. You know, like seeing Maccabi and like Ishii go at it. You know, and beat the crap out of each other. It was like very physical, really good. But to your point, and I think I saw on Twitter a lot of people upset on the ending was, you know, when you build up a best of 7 and they kind of cop out with like a no decision because they beat the crap out of each other and then, you know, couldn't continue because the ringside doctor said, you know, it just kind of deflates the whole thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, and then that's what happened on Raw too. With that,
go ahead. That was the next thing I was going to bring up.
Well, yeah, and then they ended up like figuring it out that they can't. I don't know. I guess beat one another, figure out who's better. So they decided to team them together. So.
Well, yeah, the whole thing.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the whole thing was like they both go to Mick Foley and like, oh yeah, you said whoever was the most dominant man in this series was going to get a title shot. And they both were claiming that they were physically more dominant than the other. And then Foley, with kind of another cop-out, was like, yeah, you were Sheamus, but so were you, Cesaro. You'll get a title shot. And at first I thought well, maybe they're going to bring him into like a triple threat type thing, right? Which I think would have been cooler. But no, the title shot that Foley offered is a tag team title shot.
Which makes so much sense and really gives you like so much credibility to the idea that they're tag team specialists, and you know.
And it'll be. I mean, it might be interesting seeing that whole storyline of like that they hate each other, but now they're forced to work together, and that they're great rivals that now they respect each other. I mean, I get it, but.
Yeah, they've got so much rich history to explore there. I just really can't wait either. I feel like that's a story that's never been told.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's okay. I mean, I don't think with like the current landscape they're going to push either one of those guys for like a title run, maybe. So at least using them in that capacity is okay. I just kind of the whole way the match ended is a little, but it was a great match. I think it was the best match.
Yeah, I say just send Cesaro to SmackDown and call it a day.
Yeah, did you see Daniel Bryan tweeted out about
dude, you know what? It's almost like it's a shoot, man. Because to me, it seems like Daniel Bryan's in a perfect situation right now where he's got all the money in the world, beautiful wife, one of the best wrestlers of all time, in my opinion. And he's to the point of where like he can almost tread the line with WWE to where maybe he could get fired. Because guess what? He might not be able to wrestle for them. But he can go wrestle for New Japan if he really wanted to. You know what I'm saying?
True.
So I'm not saying he's trying to get fired, but I'm just saying like he's probably to the point of where, shit, he might as well do whatever he wants at this point.
He's like the opposite of where Mick Foley's at right now because I feel like Mick is like putting over WWE's shit like hard, no matter what.
Mick is trying to keep his job.
No matter what he would have said 3 months ago.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan's at a point of where like he doesn't need WWE, and they know that. I feel like, you know, because he can clearly go on. And he can do stuff with Evolve and Gabe because you got to understand he was the one that was supposed to be the go-to guy in Evolve back in the day, but he got signed. So that got taken away from Gabe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I mean, I'm sure, man, he would want to have a huge match again, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Not in WWE, but, I mean, I'm not saying he's trying to get fired just to do this, but, like.
Yeah, I get the point that he's, like, a little bit more, I guess. He can get away with a little bit more. He knows he
Oh,
can
I'm
get
sure.
away with it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But especially if you shouldn't be wrestling, I mean, I think I would be trying to work my WWE contract pretty hard because, no one's going to pay you as much as them to not wrestle.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good point.
No, that's true.
I mean, it's pretty sweet though, right? Like these guys, the schedule that the WWE guys had is pretty brutal. So, for him to just, travel, and I mean, sure, traveling is tiring, but it's not like he has to perform every night and then, travel like the rest of the guys. But anyways, that was that match. Next up, we have Chris Jericho and Sami Zayn, which to a lot of people's surprise, Jericho beat Zayn, hit the code breaker, and got the win.
I'm surprised Jericho keeps going over.
That's surprising to me.
Yeah. I mean, usually Jericho's in a spot where, like, he'd be, putting over guys because of his position. And
I think he's usually pretty good at that.
But, yeah, he is, and he lays down for people, and he's not afraid to do the thumbtack gimmick he did a few months ago or whatever that was even. I mean, he's doing some shit that, like, he doesn't have to be doing.
He jumped off the cage some months ago.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be doing any of these things at this point of his career. You know what I'm saying? So the fact that he's doing it and giving the guys the rub is pretty cool. But I didn't think he was going over in this match either. But
maybe they think since Sami Zayn is so over that he didn't need to win.
Maybe. I'd like to see where it goes from there, if anything.
I think like, especially now that Rollins is hurt, we'll get to that. Maybe they do a little. I mean, they can plug and play Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens a million times, and the crowd is going to win it. So maybe that's where that's going. But just kind of to wrap up on the Jericho thing, Jericho's new shtick as Kevin Owens' lackey, he's like one of the best things on Raw right now.
Oh, it is.
Like Jericho, he's one of the greatest, and that's why he's one of my favorite of all time. Like he can do all sorts of shit, and it works. The list of Jericho, and now that he's Kevin Owens is a little yes man, but it's funny and entertaining. So kudos to Jericho. He's one of those guys that's been really able to reinvent himself throughout his career.
Yeah, I put a tweet out a few weeks ago saying this was one of my favorite Jericho runs in a long time. Actually, I'm really enjoying this run right now.
Yeah. After that, we had the triple threat women's match, Charlotte, Sasha, and Bayley. I think it was solid. I think that there's been better women's matches over the past year. I mean, they've set the bar pretty high. But yeah, it was a solid match. I was expecting a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, the ending, Charlotte won. Charlotte kicked Bayley into Sasha Banks, knocking Sasha off the apron, and she booted Bayley in the face and pinned her to retain the title. So good triple threat women's match.
Yeah, it was solid, but now I think those, especially Sasha and Charlotte and Bayley, they usually have matches that either steal the show or pretty close to it, and this wasn't one of those, in my opinion.
Right.
After that, Rusev went up against Roman Reigns. And guess what? Roman Reigns is now the U.S. champion, right?
He is. Yeah, he won.
He won?
Yeah, he won the match with a spear, Lana pulled the referee off the ring to stop the count. They got her ejected,
Yeah, and I mean, and I saw someone tweet out that I think now all of the Shield guys have won the U.S. belt, the heavyweight. I think they won 3. Is it tag teams? I think
they had the tag team titles together, but I don't know about like all 3 of them as I don't know.
Yeah,
I know all 3 of them
like New Day
have all been U.S. champions and heavyweight champions. Rollins, Ambrose.
Yeah, that's true.
And this brings us to the main event, which had Kevin Owens going up against Seth Rollins, throwing back some ROH days. It was a pretty good match. There was a Chris Jericho little run in, which kind of, because Rollins hit the pedigree on Owens, right? And then Jericho kind of saved the day and put Owens' foot on the bottom rope. And I was surprised that seeing Seth Rollins is still using the pedigree after the whole Triple H.
No, I know. Yeah, and then Jericho ran into the ring, causing another distraction, causing the referee to get bumped. So, which was a really, if that was the right one I'm thinking of, was that a really cheesy looking bump, or was that something else I seen recently?
It was kind of goofy.
Dude, it was almost like the ref sold a truck collision, you know, but he literally got grazed like a little basketball foul.
That was like a soccer dive.
Yeah, dude, he literally sold the hell out of that one, but it knocked anything knocks the refs out nowadays apparently. But Rollins had the match won again with another pedigree at that point, and then he fought off Jericho until Stephanie could send out another ref. As soon as she did, Owen to the pop-up powerbomb to retain the title. So that's kind of interesting.
It was an all right match, a good storytelling match. But I think the one thing, and we'll see how this, because Rollins got legit hurt in this match, right after the top rope gutbuster, which was, and it did look like, you know, his ribs, it did not look nice. I mean, it did look pretty rough. So he's injured with some rib type deal. I don't know for how long. And that was that, right? I think overall the best match of the night, ending aside, was Cesaro.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Cool. So I guess we'll have to do it. We'll be talking about another pay-per-view in a week or so. No Mercy.
Yeah, I think next Sunday night, October 8th.
Man, there's so many pay-per-views now.
Or October 9th, maybe, I guess. I don't know.
Anyways, what's some other news, notes, anything worth mentioning here?
Yeah. Like we said on Raw, there was the Drew Gulak debut. Kind of mentioned that briefly. And then news came out this week that a couple of Chikara wrestlers were at the NXT Performance Center for a tryout. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah, I think it was Kimberly, Katie Lovelace, Eddie Kingston, and I mean, I guess we still count them. I mean, we should still count them as Chikara, although we haven't seen them in a while. 3.0, right?
Oh yeah, they're definitely Chikara guys, even though they haven't really been around too much. I think a lot of that falls with the border, possibly with those guys. I don't know.
It could be that with them coming and going, it's pretty touchy. Or maybe they've had issues and now they have trouble coming into the States.
Yeah, I know a lot of wrestlers from Canada that can't get over right now, so could be. Other than that, today, which is October 2nd for everyone at home, Chikara is running an Hour of Power live show on Chikaratopia at 4 p.m. Eastern timing. That's on the Chikaratopia subscription service. First week free. So if you sign up today, you get the first week free. If you really don't want to continue, you can realistically cancel it, and just watch today's event for free. Not to be too much of a
I mean, but even with the free week, like, I think, you can watch some of the marquee shit, like King of Trios, right? Some of the old King of Trios, and those will usually hook you in. And then out on the internet, there's many story, like, timelines that you can follow and then just follow the pay-per-views. It's kind of like reading comics, right? But yeah, it's totally worth it. Y'all should sign up. Like now.
I recommend it.
Also today, another newsworthy item is the whole TNA thing. Ryan, you look surprised.
I don't know what TNA thing you're talking about.
TNA.
That they did not, apparently the whole week, it was like they didn't have any money to run their pay-per-view this weekend. And that they were going to go under, and if they went under and had a breach of contract with their TV deal, that they
this
were
is
screwed.
Even after the Billy Corgan thing where he was like investing a shitload of money in it or whatever.
So now it was like, apparently they're trying to sell the company. And like Billy Corgan is in the running. Apparently WWE wants to buy it. And there's like a couple of other interested parties that want to buy the company. So Condor, yeah. Wink while the sewer.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. Like there was a lot of rumors and ramblings on this week. Apparently, someone provided funding and they're going to run the show. But we'll see eventually, with owner who'll own it, right? Like, what if Vince buys it?
Now it's a pay-per-view tonight.
Yeah, Bound for Glory.
And people are like, have they been running pay-per-views this whole time? Because I haven't been. I don't have Impact on Pop on my Time Warner subscription.
They do they have been running some pay-per-views, and then they do sometimes kind of remember Clash of the Champions, which was kind of like a pay-per-view but was on TV back in the day. Kind of stuff like that. I think it would suck if they go under because in the past couple of years, maybe now it's the best run they've had. Like the most entertaining that show's been is right now. And for that, it's always good for there to be competition, right? It brings out the best in everyone, and if Vince buys them out,
then they're fucked. Pardon my language.
We'd have all the TNA library on WWE Network.
I mean, I guess that's cool, but I guess it's cool because they can show AJ Styles stuff.
Yeah, but it would suck though. It would suck that the quote unquote second largest company in the States goes under, right? So we'll see where that leads to. There's a lot of stuff you can look online or look on Twitter, and you'll find a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they'll probably stay around. I mean, if anyone wishes them to go away, it's kind of cruel. You don't want workers to have nowhere to work.
Right?
Because you got to figure if WWE does buy them, they're not taking everyone. Just like WWF bought WCW, they're not taking every person to the roster.
They'll lead up some. They'll take in some of the contracts and then they'll get rid of a lot of people. That's what I
see. What they could do is, which I think would be cool, if they did buy it for the library alone, would be cool. But then you can even run a Thursday night show on the network live. You don't even have to be in a TV spot. You got the network. You can run a live TNA show.
Thursday Impact.
Thursday something. You don't have to call it TNA. Sure. You don't have to call it Impact. You even call it whatever you want. It could be NXT 2 for all that matters. And they could use it as a developmental territory and just pluck guys from, kind of Evolve.
TNA nowadays. No, I'm sorry. NXT nowadays is pretty much TNA, right?
Pretty
Joe, Austin Aries, Bobby Roode.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Anyways, that was the last little piece of news. This week we're not going to do any gimmicks, right? No gimmicks?
Nah, no gimmicks this week.
Oh, okay.
This is all business this week. No games.
I think you're wearing your gimmick. Ryan might be wearing his gimmick that
I was told that we were having a gimmick thing. Joey just says stuff and then he takes it back or changes it at the last second and shit. So, it's all good. We don't have to talk about the thing that I put on specifically because Joey mentioned it.
Do it. I'm wearing a wrestling shirt, so we can
talk about it.
We can talk about it a little bit.
Go ahead. I'm wearing actually my favorite hoodie, so it's Ultraman's hoodie. So go ahead and talk about it.
Okay. So Joey said that our gimmick this week would be our favorite wrestling tee. So I got my Marchy Archie shirt on. It's my favorite wrestling shirt. Rest in peace, Archibald Peck. I used to be a marching band, so the gimmick in and of itself is meaningful to me. And it's an awesome purple shirt.
Cool. Well, I'm not wearing my favorite T-shirt, but it's one of my favorite T-shirts, if you will. I bought this Ingobernables T-shirt, and I mean, it may not look anything crazy, but I bought it when I went to see CMLL in Guadalajara, Mexico, about a month or so ago. So. And my actual favorite T-shirt was the one I wore for King of Trios Night 2, the Naito black and red Ingobernables T-shirt. So sticking true to what I like, it's always an Ingobernables. Joey.
Well, this Ultraman's hoodie I got on is pretty cool. Can't really show you the back right now, but it's got some cool Ultraman stuff on it. My favorite actually wrestling T-shirt is probably my AJ Styles signed shirt I got at Trios last year.
I think we talked it up right now, but yeah, I think because I have a ton of wrestling T-shirts. That might be out of all the wrestling stuff, I think it's what I most have is t-shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably.
And I've always been one, like I think I mentioned in the first one of the new episodes, or maybe for the King of Trios, like I don't care if you're that great of an in-ring guy, but if your t-shirt's badass and I'm at a show, I'll probably buy it.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And then the other thing that I'm not a big fan of with wrestling t-shirts, I don't like, I like when it's like, I can still do like a cartoon version of the wrestler on a t-shirt, but if it's like almost like a picture version or like a more realistic version of the dude on my shirt, I usually can't do that. It doesn't work for me. Right?
Yeah.
I totally agree.
I agree.
Or like they'll put like a picture of their like face. The only one I do have, and this is another one of my favorite t-shirts, is my Orange Cassidy one. But that one's different though.
That is
that
different.
one I think it's like ironic and funny, not like seeing, I don't know. I think Ethan Page has one that he's copying like an old Rock t-shirt from the 90s.
Probably.
Yeah, and like the stuff like that. I'm not a big, I'm not big into that. But anyways.
Well, Ryan's shirt actually has something to do with the Chikara show today that we are going to review.
Do you want to get into the Chikara show before? Yeah. You want to do Chikara?
You want to just go right into Chikara?
So much like Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty in the Rockers, when Shawn Michaels carried that team, you guys are going to have to carry me on this one.
We have to carry you through Joshimania.
Through Joshimania. Shoot Life was a bitch this week.
All right, that's fine.
All right. Joey, you want to hold our hands?
Yeah, Jerry, hold our hands.
I can do it.
You want me to?
Yeah.
All right. Joshimania. Let's talk about it.
Night one.
Night one
of a possible 3 nights, I think it was. I think they were all in different cities, too, actually. I don't
they
think
were.
It was all in the same.
I think and we talked about it when we did the pre-show stuff, in the Deep Blue Something podcast. They talk about Joshimania. I think it was one night in Philly, which is night one. They did one night in New York City, and then one night in Massachusetts.
Yeah. Yeah, so night one was in Philly, December 2011. Opening match, Archibald Peck, Los Ice Creams versus, oh man, I'm going to butcher these ones.
I can read them. All
right, yeah, go for it.
It's Kaori Yonayama, Hanako Nakamori, and Tsubasa Kuragaki.
Very nice.
Way better than I would have done.
I'd studied Japanese in college, so I can at least read their names out loud.
Yeah.
Nice. So this match started with Kingston and Bryce on commentary, which I always like and look forward to hearing those.
Kingston on commentary, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Good match, nothing too crazy. I mean, you know what? This match actually made me miss Archibald Peck a lot watching this one. He was really funny, dude. And even when he smacked her with the glove, I don't remember which one he smacked in the glove in the face with or whatever, but that was hilarious, dude. And just acting like it was a night off to the Ice Cream before the match started, because they were facing women. I thought that was kind of funny too. But
yeah.
Is there anything else you want to talk about majorly for the match, Ryan?
You got the ice cream spots. I mean, yeah, it wasn't anything like super noteworthy there. I think Peck really he gets so intense on at the drop of a hat. With I can't remember what it's not a cloverleaf, but he's got some kind of submission locked in, and he is just screaming at the woman on the mat, and I thought that was like a really good way of kind of starting it off.
No, I agree.
Was it a little bit more of a comedy match?
Of course. I mean, there's definitely some comedy going on, but at the same time, the Joshis aren't really playing into the comedy aspect of it a whole lot. I mean, it's comedic on the outside of the ring most of the time with the there's a spot where Archie licks the ice cream.
Oh, that's pretty
which was even weirder. It's like he's kind of distracting his own team, So I felt like that's almost the vibe that happens throughout this card. Is like when the comedy stuff happens, most of the time it's not the Joshi stuff taking it into their own hands.
And that's the thing, like, man, even right now, trios, the Joshi are really, they're really, they're very intense, right? Very usually serious. And then you throw out a team with the Ice Queens and Archie, so you get that kind of, that little bit of a contrast. So, I mean, I guess that would make for some interesting interaction.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, JWP wins that match 14 minutes in with, what was it, like a double torture rack or something kind of like that, or?
Yes.
It was, she definitely had both
I'm looking at the screenshot right now.
Or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Rack.
Yeah, it's one of the ice creams and Peck she's got.
So JWP wins that one.
Yeah. Cool. What do we have next?
Oh,
next up is Sawaka Shimona versus Gami.
This was kind of like a rookie versus coach type of thing. They were kind of saying on commentary, I guess. Gami is the wave president, apparently. And Shimona is kind of like the rookie and trainee or whatever, I guess. I don't know. Is she the trainee of Gami? Is that what they said? Or is she kind of just like a rookie to the sport?
Yes. Okay. Because the line was, of course, Gami taught Shimona everything she knows, but maybe not everything Gami knows.
Oh, gotcha. A little sneaky thing there. Gami kind of like a heel, hitting her with a what looked to be like a megaphone or a microphone. I don't know what the hell that thing was.
Was that this match with the yes, the megaphone shots? That was brutal. And when you take the student angle into consideration, you're like, wow, what the heck? Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, she was really kind of stiffing her. It's kind of like teaching her a little bit. It seemed like so Gami wins that one. Not a surprise there.
Yeah.
And then next match, not women actually.
Right.
Singles match between Tim Donst and Green Ant in this one.
Interesting.
It was pretty interesting. A lot of arm drags, heavy chops early on, I noticed. Donst is pissed about the Young Lions Cup being in Japan, I think, at the time.
Donst
Green Ant
is so intense.
Yeah, I mean, he was actually in pretty good shape for this match.
Go ahead.
No, a couple points of his career, he's been, different sizes and stuff like that. But this match, he actually was in pretty good shape.
Oh, yeah. And the promo he cuts before the match, I mean, he spits all over the camera, dude. My mom walked in during one of the promos, and she just started laughing because he is just, like, going hard.
Donst is always a good
similar to Ric Flair in that NWA episode, or the WCW that we watched.
Love Ric Flair.
Yeah, it was a good match. I mean, Donst hit the double power bomb, and then a super Donstitution, only two.
Yeah.
Then later on, Donst taps Green Ant out for the victory. Donst wins. Next match, Joshi tag match.
Okay. Yes, this one's cool. We got Mayumi Ozaki and Mia Shirai, the heel team, versus Ayako Hamada and Cherry to impress me.
Yeah,
I felt like this was maybe the weakest match on the card.
I agree. I didn't really process too much other than the heel team, like you were saying, of Shirai and Ozaki. And Cherry was kind of like the little baby face, cute little Japanese girl, I guess you could say maybe. Hamada and Cherry actually win. Baby faces win the match.
Yeah, Hamada, when she finally comes into the match, she's pretty much a tank, and takes a lot of damage when she comes in, but pulls through. They really had to, in order to tell the story effectively, I guess. So, Ozaki is this kind of like innovator of violence in the Joshi world, so she was really playing up the heel tactics, a lot of hand biting, a lot of hand biting.
No, she did.
And it was like, yeah, we get it. You bite people. I'm curious. I would be curious to watch one of her matches, like as an established character and see how much abiding is really going on. It's interesting to see with the Joshis how much they're doing to command the crowd, because I feel like they were doing a lot by this point to try to amp the crowd up and get them more excited, because I was seeing a lot of faces looking down at phones, just paying attention to the crowd, like this crowd hard.
Yeah. A little fact about Ozaki, she's a queen of the street fight, they called her, 25-year pro. So it's a long time in the business, man.
So like street fight, like hardcore matches?
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
on the commentary,
yeah.
They called her queen of the street fight, so like I guess.
Dude, I think it's definitely a hardcore match.
I've seen some of these like old like clips of like these Yoshi like in barbed wire matches and stuff. Like it's crazy. Like they go hard. So I would put it, you know, I think that's what that means.
We should check it out.
Yeah, the next match. Yeah, you should. The next match first starts out with a Legacy Award, I think it was, right? Presented to Manami Toyota.
Yeah. I didn't understand.
I didn't catch exactly what
the...
Yeah, it was just kind of like there's a guy in the ring that I really kind of was wondering who it was. I didn't know who that guy was either. And then next thing you know, it was like, well, Toyota wins some Legacy Award. And I guess I don't know what it was.
I do remember this because I remember when I watched this the first time, I was like, what the fuck's going on? So I Googled it.
Guy.
It's some dude from like a blog that's called Diva Dirt. That's all about women's wrestling. Gave like that website or blog gave her an award, lifetime achievement.
Who was it? Muscarella?
No, that's it. It's a guy by his name David. Maybe.
Oh, man, dude, it's a shoot. It might be. It's a work. He's working us into a shoot. It could be him.
It could be him. But anyways, yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah, Toyota gets the Diva Dirt Legacy Award gimmick, or whatever the hell that is. So then her opponent, I'm going to try this one, Ryan. Toshi Uematsu. How do I do there? Not bad.
Nice.
Huh? That name sounds familiar to me for some reason, even though I really am not much of a Joshi dude.
Well, Uematsu is, I don't know if you're a Final Fantasy fan or how much you're connected into the video game world, but Nobuo Uematsu is the composer for Final Fantasy.
Dude, maybe that's where I know it from. I was just playing Final Fantasy the other day. Could be. Uematsu controlled a lot of the match, it seemed like, early on. You know, kind of a heel.
Yeah. I really like Uematsu. I think she's awesome. And I don't remember if I've only seen her in Joshimania or if I've caught her in a couple other Chikara events or what. But I as soon as I saw her face, I was like, oh, yeah. Because I love Uematsu. Yeah.
Yeah. See, I feel that way about Toyota.
Same.
It was cool. It was real cool when that commentary, they kind of said, like, that Toyota's only appearances in the United States were in Chikara. You know, I like that fact right there. That was cool. To kind of like persuade her just to only do that, you know? Because Quackenbush has to have a massive connection with these people. You know what I'm saying? Just all over the world to have some kind of pull. You know what I mean? To just talk these people into getting them there. And another thing, real quick, totally unrelated but related. Quackenbush was on Taz's podcast Friday morning.
I need to check that out.
I heard it's pretty good. Both of you should check that out. Yeah. It's right at about the hour and 23-minute mark on, I think it was yesterday, for our Friday's podcast, I mean. And basically it's pretty cool, man, because, like, Joey Styles set up the relationship there with him and Taz, and Gabe Sapolsky even had kind of a hand in that too. And it was kind of cool listening to Taz because he was one of my favorites, man, in ECW, putting over Quack and laughing about it. And actually at one point he told Quack to slow down with the big words or he was going to be banned from the Taz podcast for life. That's Quackenbush's vocabulary. Wow. He worked them. They were laughing because Quackenbush's vocabulary, you know, obviously know what that is. And Taz is just like a local New York guy, seems like, so he was breaking his balls. It was pretty good.
That's an interesting – that whole relationship with Joey Styles and Chikara has created some interesting
– It is.
situations, I think.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I guess if the video game gets funding,
Joey
Styles is going to do commentary. Yeah, apparently. So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, quick plug for the Indiegogo for Chikara Arcade Wrestling or Action Arcade Wrestling. You know, the guy, if you're curious to check out the games, Action Arcade Wrestling 1 and 2 are previously developed indie games, so he's got an established reputation. They have some cool merch. We were plugging Chikaratopia earlier. If you're interested in playing the game, donate a little to the game. They'll give you a couple months of Chikaratopia. That's some of the low-level perks. So
there's some nice ones too, because I remember you mentioned the one with the Ultra Mantis mask. Gen 1 Ultra
Yeah, I picked up the Ultra Mantis mask.
Yep. All right,
cool. So back to the match. It was Toyota winning with the Japanese Ocean Cyclone Suplex. Kind of a long name for a move, but
yeah,
that was cool.
Totally. No, that's like the longest move name of all time.
Dude,
but,
the funniest
really
part,
cool.
yeah.
That sounds like one of the Jericho's made-up moves from his list in WCW.
yeah.
Dude, literally what the best part is, like, when I was watching it, I think it was Quack. Yeah, Quack was announcing. And when she hit the move, he said the name, and I literally had to rewind it 5 times to be able to write it down. Just to be able to, I picked up one word every time I rewound it. Like, oh, Japanese, okay. Ocean, all right, put that down. Complicated move, but pretty cool move. So, yeah, Toyota wins. Next match, not a women's match. We got the Campeonatos de Parejas on the line with Fist, the champions, versus the Colony, who have 3 points. Colony, which is Fire and Soldier Ant, for anyone out there concerned, and the Fist was Gargano and Taylor, which I really love when those two tag together, man.
Oh, yeah.
Sucks it ain't going to happen anymore, unless maybe down the line, you know, but those guys as a heel tag team, so awesome. Good match.
Yeah, this was a good match, and it was cool because it was still kind of following up on actually the last Chikara show that we watched, where we watched the Ants take the points. No, you guys, sorry. That's so funny. I went back and watched High Noon incorrectly a couple weeks ago for the show. And so I watched the Colony get these points. You guys didn't do that, though. My beast.
I did watch High Noon. No, I did watch High Noon, actually, too.
Okay, cool.
That was cool. So Colony gets the 3 points, cashes in at Joshimania, night 1. First fall, Gargano assisted Chuck Taylor there, take the first fall. Kind of held his foot in the ropes or did some kind of gimmick there. Ants win the second fall, which is cool. And if you don't know at home, I mean, these tag team title matches for Chikara aren't just 1 fall. You know, they're 3 falls. So, or best of 3 falls, we should say.
Very lucha.
Yeah, which is cool, actually, you know. And you have to have 3 points to cash in for a tag team title opportunity also. I don't know. Because, I mean, you got to figure a lot of people don't really know about Chikara. So you gain a point by winning a matchup, you know, whether it's a tag matchup, singles matchup. And once you gain 3 points in a row without losing.
Nowadays are represented in the
coins,
yeah,
which they're pretty nice coins. They're pretty beautiful looking. They're nice and goldish. I think one of the members might even have one.
This is a plug. That's one of Ryan's, if not Ryan's, favorite piece of merch gimmick. When we talked about that.
I got it. I'm not going to grab it out again.
No.
Check it out on the King of Trio special.
They can go back to the King of Trio special and check that out. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, so he's a third of the way of cashing in for Hollywood's title.
That's right. I'm going to wait until Jervis cashes in. I'm going to come in and cash in on Jervis for a double swerve.
Double swerve. Back to the matchup. Let's see here. Chuck Taylor submits Fire Ant for the victory. Fist retains the title. It's good, typical Chikara match, you know.
Yeah, solid tag action.
Yeah. Main event of the evening, which I'm sure everyone that's what they paid the big ticket prices for, you know, or whatever the tickets were at the time. Aja Kong versus Sara Del Rey, and I guess it was Sara Del Rey's idol or whatever, because Quack kind of referred to that a few times, kind of him facing Jushin Liger on the microphone, and then compared that to Sara Del Rey facing Kong. So good match, nothing too crazy, a little physical matchup, both of them strong women,
I remember Aja Khan, her entrance song was like a Judas Priest song.
Dude, it's surprised. Whatever her entrance song is, surprised me, I can say. And I don't know.
It's a Judas Priest song.
It is. It's a really weird one, dude.
Because I remember when I watched it, and I was like marking out pretty hard for Judas Priest. I don't remember which one it was, but I remember it's the Judas Priest song.
It's so funny. It takes a really long time for her to make her entrance, too. I was sitting there. I started laughing. I was like,
so long to where I thought she forgot that she had a match.
Is it Juan Francisco? Like maybe Juan Francisco?
Not longer.
Longer?
Dude, I think.
Yeah.
I think 30 to 40 seconds of the song played before she came out. I'm pretty sure.
Shit.
I want to say it was "Electric Eye," dude, by Judas Priest. If I'm not.
I think you're right. That's a good.
Because it took forever to come in, but she finally comes in, and then. I think there was like a couple of like trainees or something with her, maybe at ringside. I know.
Well, the other Joshis were hanging out on the outside of the ring the whole time. Yeah, like all throughout the match, through the whole pay-per-view.
Gotcha.
They got their hoodies on or whatever, and they're just kind of standing over in the corners by the barriers and whatever.
Dude, I think I noticed Cassandra from.
No way, Cassandra Miyagi?
I think she was ringside during one of the matches earlier on. Maybe this is before she started working for Sendai or whatever. But I noticed her ringside during maybe like the tag match, the women's tag match earlier. But
yeah,
this was a good match. Sara Del Rey sneaks a win. Actually, I thought it was cool.
Yes.
And then Aja got pretty hot after the match. Actually, even like. I think she even destroyed the women that were ringside, that happened to be there. Hit them with a bucket or a garbage can or whatever it was.
She was definitely kind of knocking them around.
She had like a metal tin like garbage can that she smashed over the head of Sara Del Rey in the match even, I think. Didn't she?
Yeah,
she did.
Damn.
No, and I loved her temper tantrum as she was leaving. She's like, I'll be back.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
I was like, oh, no.
Real quick, the funniest part of the show, if I have to just go back and say the funniest part of the show, I'm going to say was when Gavin fucked up the name of Gami, and he called her Gama. Dude, did you see how pissed she got? And she grabbed the mic and literally, and she had the girl go over to him and legit be like, it's Gami, not Gama. And she got legit hot over it, dude. Because she was the Wave president. He's the dude in the mic, you know what I mean? He called her Gama, and she gets real hot, dude. If you go back and watch that, right after that match, when he announces her as the winner, you could see her get real hot at Gavin, dude, to the point of where, and this is where it might have been Cassandra, whoever it was with her, went over to Gavin and corrected him, and then that's when he said it again as Gami. So I thought that was kind of cool. Pretty funny moment. But good show.
Let's close this out. What was y'all's favorite match from it?
Probably main event. Or not, I'm mean that. Not the main event. The tag title match, probably.
Ryan?
Really? For me, it's a tie between the Sara Del Rey and the Toyota match. I mean, yeah. That's a tough call for me.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm not the biggest Joshi guy, but, I mean, it was a good show. Just probably because it was, like, broken down with other matches in there. I've personally...
I think we lost him.
I thought he entered sudden deep thought. I thought he was saying.
You thought he was having a reflection about everything about women's wrestling and just in everything. Like, women's rights.
He was gonna come back with something like really deep.
I don't know what just happened, to tell you the truth.
Dude, Ryan thought you were like in some deep reflection, thinking about the state of women's rights in the world.
I'm still there.
Cool.
Well,
anyways,
that wraps up that show. I don't plan on watching night 2 or 3 anytime soon.
We went back to Joshimania just because King of Trios was kind of like the de facto Joshimania of 2016. So just a little nod back to.
Yeah, we got it.
All right, so last segment, we've got Nitro. Nitro was really long. Let's just hit the highlights.
Yeah.
Let's hit the highlights.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I know in the show prep, I think this was your first exposure to Glacier, right, Ryan?
That's correct. That is correct. I was unaware. I knew of Glacier from the Deep Blue Something podcast, and they had talked about him acquiring the armor in time to come to Chikara with the armor and the whole gimmick. But yeah, I was unaware of him previously. I do enjoy La Parka, so
La Parka's the bomb, but just kind of for like. Because I was watching Nitro when they debuted him and teased him and all that, and I remember as a kid, this was 1997, so I was 12. I thought Glacier was the coolest shit in the world. Like when they were teasing him, I'm like, this dude looks like Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat.
Right, exactly. It's so fucking Mortal Kombat. It's
I know.
Funny.
And then they did like Mortis and some other like guys that were kind of also like Mortal Kombat looking dudes. But then I remember like the hype for him was really like, and then he comes out with his gear doing all these karate moves, and then I'm like, shit, Glacier's kind of lame. But I was on the hype train, and then I'm like, it's not gonna work. But anyways, that's a classic WCW situation right there, Glacier. So I'm glad you were exposed to this.
Me too.
It's true. Real quick, first match, Rey Mysterio Jr., Cruiserweight Champion versus Dean Malenko. Good match, two classics.
Dude, yeah, the WCW Cruiserweights.
Oh, sick.
That's like, I mean, I know the guys now are fantastic. Don't get me wrong, but like in my heart, that WCW Cruiserweight era was amazing. Rey Mysterio, Dean Malenko, Chris Jericho, Juventud. Man, so many great luchadors. Psychosis. That was just an amazing time. So.
Crazy. Ray wins that match. Good opening match. Then you go into La Parka versus Glacier, like you were talking about. Another good match. WCW. Yeah. Parker sets up chairs, plants Glacier's head into it, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. DDP comes out even, I think, right, at this point? Or was this right afterwards?
I don't know. Don't remember. That part's still not on my notes.
Yeah, shit. Stevie Ray versus Lex Luger.
No,
go ahead. Yeah, I could really do without that one.
Eddie and Chris Jericho.
Eddie and Chris Jericho, classic match, man. I love that.
Eddie, another guy who was in that cruiserweight division for a little bit. Like all these WCW guys who then became Attitude Era WWE guys. I mean, WCW had a loaded roster, but it was again like it's like the 3-hour Raw nowadays, right? That they dilute with so much filler all the good that they have. So, anyways.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. Those guys took kind of the same journey, like WCW, ECW, WWF, They all kind of did the same thing, and we're friends together. Frog Splash, Eddie wins. Next match, taboo name nowadays, one of my favorites, Chris Benoit versus Fit Finlay.
Just a quick comment there. I remember when we were at Bud Carson's, they had that Chris Benoit magazine that when we were going through the magazine, and he has no joke, blood on his hands. It's a WWE magazine, from 1999 or some shit like that. And Benoit has blood on his hands. And we were like, Joey, are you going to buy this? And I guess in the moment, you made a rational decision, right? Like, if someone comes to your house and you have, a bloody Chris Benoit magazine on your coffee table, it's going to throw out, a kind of a bad...
Right next to a Father of the Year mug or something.
Sure, that's the last thing I want to explain to somebody.
You're gonna throw out some off-putting vibes there.
Yeah, I don't think that person will come back over. So a good match, Benoit. wins with the diving headbutt.
I enjoyed this match.
Yeah, me too. Fit Finley, man, real stiff, real hard worker too.
Fit Finley was like, I remember,
Dude,
and
awesome.
the way they would like build him up on commentary, the Belfast Bruiser, and like he's a brawler, and like they sold him as a bad
dude.
man.
He was believable, man. He was believable. Yeah, I'd like to see him versus
both
Sheamus.
of these guys.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
Absolutely right.
That would be sick.
No, I'm just saying both of these guys have the great physicality and just like legit grappling skills to make this a really, really awesome, solid wrestling match.
No, that was a great match for Nitro, man. Sudden ending, but good stuff. Benoit definitely needed the win there. All right, the next one is my favorite wrestler in WCW.
I thought you were going to say of all time.
Oh, man. Top 3.
Okay.
I
think for me, top 3 promo of all time.
Top 3 promo. Okay. For me, top 3 character. You know what I mean? Raven versus Scotty Riggs.
Those Raven promos in ECW, especially, when I was a brooding teenager myself, I was like, man, Raven, I get him. Yeah, dude. I get him. Raven was legit.
Yeah, early on in the night, actually, we forgot to mention, but during the Rey Mysterio opening match with Malenko, Raven and the Flock comes down through the crowd, and they kind of sit down and they kind of position themselves there. So that was earlier on. And then I want to say that they said this was Raven's first Nitro match.
Really?
On commentary.
It's possible.
I think they said that. I can't guarantee it, but yeah, because he started out by saying he hasn't signed a contract with WCW. The only way he's going to wrestle if it's a no DQ. Tells Riggs there's no reason to fight. Blah blah blah.
Scotty Riggs, for those not in the know, is the Marty Jannetty of the American males, right?
Yeah.
He used to team with Buff Bagwell, and I remember they had the cheesiest intro song like in the history of the world.
Right.
The one that they just repeat, American males, American males. It's awful. Anyways.
It's pretty bad. Raven and his antics, Saturn gives Raven a chair. Kidman comes down to try to stop Raven, gets tossed out the ring. Riggs is screaming. Nick calls for the medics. Raven heads back to his seat. Squash match.
Doesn't Riggs eventually become part of the Flock?
Yeah.
Yep.
Next match, DDP versus Hulk Hogan. Who was the champion at this point?
Hollywood Hogan. That's my favorite version of Hulk Hogan.
Julio, you want to talk about that matchup, or that was your favorite version of Hogan?
Well, this was the run where Hogan, he was untouchable, right? And he loses this match by DQ, which doesn't really matter because he still retains the title. And this was especially this era, this 96, 97 NWO and Hogan, they were cool, right? They were we would put up with their antics. And then, we go look back at a lot of these antics and you're like, oh man, these guys were chicken shit heels. But back then, they were the cool thing in WCW. And I forget the DQ, what was the reason behind it? Was it an interference?
Yes. The guy runs into the Sting mask, and I don't remember who was the Sting, but as soon as DDP hits a diamond cutter on that Sting guy, it's DQ, and then things really fall apart from there. I didn't understand what the hell was going on after that point. Ric Flair comes out, everyone's out there.
NWO, chaos ensued. Vincent, Norton, Hall, everyone.
Then after that,
Vince Russo's favorite, Disco Inferno. He buries him all the time. I know
Disco has so much heat with Vince Russo.
Yeah,
because I don't listen to Vince Russo's podcast too much.
You have to, man.
But I listen to the Conan podcast, and they always give Disco shit that Vince Russo has heat with it.
Oh, dude, I listened to Vince today. He was ribbing him hard, man. He was ribbing Disco so hard. It was great.
I will say this about Disco, though. I know he's like the whipping boy at the Conan podcast, but Disco has some of the best insight on that podcast.
Dude, Vince Russo was interviewing, I want to say, I think it was the Kevin Sullivan interview, and he said single-handedly the reason WCW failed was because of Disco Inferno. He said the second the normal casual fan saw him come on the TV set is when they changed the channel.
I think that's a debate for another day, but I would not blame Disco Inferno for the shortcomings of.
No, but I think he might be living him. You know what I mean?
I think Vince Russo has a little bit of he has a bigger hand in the demise of WCW than Disco does.
I think all the suits, man, who were just paying people who were sitting home for months are kind of involved too.
True.
But I mean, there's so many people to point, to there.
We should totally do a WCW special. That would be pretty dope. But anyways, yeah, Disco and Russo's podcast beef is pretty interesting. But like I said, like on the Conan podcast, I mean, I think Disco has some of the best like insight in some of the episodes. Like he says some really smart, things. So, although he had the goofiest gimmick of all time. And I think nowadays, doesn't he work like at a strip club or something like that?
Does
Las
he?
Vegas?
I
think so. I think he works at a strip club.
Shit, you said Vegas. It, not me.
No, they said it on the Conan podcast.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that's not a shoot for me. I'm just repeating. I think Conan says it or Kevin Gill. Anyway,
it's possible. Well, let's see here. What do we got?
He went against Goldberg and no contest for the television champion. He was the TV champion.
Right. Yeah, TV champion at the time. Steiner Brothers champions versus Public Enemy next match.
Public Enemy is one of those things that I remember back in the day. It wasn't that bad. Like you're like, oh, these guys are crazy and they do these crazy table spots. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, these dudes were so lame.
Yeah, them and the Nasty Boys are right up there with me. They suck.
I still think the Nasty
that was cringe-worthy for me.
Yeah, definitely. I still think the Nasty Boys are like, at least there's some nostalgia factor. Whereas I think Public Enemy, it's like, this was a mistake of the times kind of thing.
Yeah, dude. No, their gear is like terrible, too much horrible words, and no.
They're horrible.
But I will say for their defense, they're some of the classic ECW moments involved.
Sure. Guys. But a lot of that shit doesn't hold up nowadays, even still. Like they're classic moments, but like.
I mean, it might not be like 5-star type stuff, but it's like in terms of remembering ECW, it's like some of the crazy stuff they did is like on the list, I would say.
Let's see. We got Booker T versus Kurt Hennig for the U.S. title. Decent match.
DQ? Another DQ?
Yeah. That was the main event, right?
No, the main event was Flair and Savage.
No. Yes.
Oh. Shit. That was my main event then, because I must have tuned out right after that.
Wow. No, I think things broke down at the end of this one, too. This episode was kind of hard for me to follow, just not being fully like I know the NWO angle and everything, but
yeah,
I wasn't super into it, and honestly, I can't tell you much about this Flair versus Savage match. I remember a lot of fighting on the floor.
I just think like this era of WCW, there was like almost every big match ended with something external going on. It was never a clean, I mean, there was at some points, but more often than not, you had cheap shots and interferences and run-ins and people using foreign objects, like that kind of stuff. And I think back in the day, like when I reminisce and think about it, it was a hype, like, oh, this chaos, this is crazy, everyone's fighting each other, this is fun. But when you look back at it and you're looking back at it at a single show and not like a story, it comes off as like kind of cheap. But remembering it as part of the overall NWO, WCW situation, it kind of made sense, right? It was chaotic. WCW at this point was chaotic. No one knew what was going to happen. No one knew who was going to join NWO. There was, people like DDP and Ric Flair and Sting that were like the three main stalwarts of WCW that were trying to fight off the NWO. So, I mean, overall in the story, you got to understand that it was a chaotic times in WCW. But if we look at a single sample, it's not that good.
Yeah. Good show overall,
Yeah, WCW is
a good bit of it.
Always nice. I mean, I have so many fond memories, but I think it's hard. Some of it is hard to. It hasn't really aged very well.
Right. Now, is that the wrap up for that show?
Yeah, I think that's it.
Now, you picked the retro episode for next week, Julio, right?
Yeah, so let's kind of go over what we've got cooking for next week. I'm going to pick Smoky Mountain Wrestling 112 on the WWE Network from March 19th, 1994, just because this was when Lance Storm and Chris Jericho had their run in Smoky Mountain as the Thrill Seekers. So I want to go back and look at and catch some of that.
Cool.
What are we watching Chikara on?
Okay, I took to Twitter the other day, put out the recommendation. I put out basically the next. I'm probably going to do this a little frequently, maybe. Get some fan interaction. I took to Twitter. Basically, I just put choose the next Chikara episode we should watch off the Chikartopia. And we got an answer within a few minutes from the soon-to-be-named network's own LF Chikarson.
You haven't shouted out the soon-to-be network.
No, I was going to do that at the end.
Oh, you were going to do that at the end?
Yeah, I was going to put all the plugs in.
Okay.
I was going to plug them all at the end, but this was kind of my roundabout way of getting there. But LFC of Long Box Heroes fame.
Chikara fame.
Chikara fame, former director of Fun. He recommended a show we should watch for the Chikara segment of the show every week. Next week, he said we should watch Chikara Young Lions Cup 6, Night 3, Sunday, June 15th, 2008. The final show in the Hellertown, PA building before they demolished it. I actually watched it already last night, but it was a really good show. I'm going to watch it again. Featuring a young babyface, all-ego Ethan Page.
Damn. 1990.
I'm talking
2008.
relevance. This was 2008. Yeah.
So we're going back 8 years.
And if you know what Ethan Page, I don't know, but I'll just say he was motion picture. Ethan Page was his gimmick. That's all I'm gonna tell you. But good match, man. Had all the typicals. Had Ultramanus Black. Had Shane Storm, Quackenbush. Good talent on the show. Young Lions Cup tournament wraps up, and you get to see who the winner of that is. So, good recommendation. Looking forward to that one. Brings back to the old school Chikara days.
Cool. So let's go through all the plugs and let's wrap this up.
All right. Talkin Gimmicks. We're Talkin Gimmicks together as a group on Twitter at Talkin Gimmicks, TALKIN Gimmicks. I'm Joey Schutz, JoeyShoots. Julio, what is your Twitter?
I'm at Julio, JULIO_DA. Julio_DA.
And we got Ryan, Mr. Worldview minus the L, Wordview on Twitter, WRD View.
That's
and
correct.
We're a part of the check him out over there. I don't know if he interacts too much, but check him out.
I will if you message me. I like to talk. I just don't post things out too much just randomly into the universe.
Sure, and that goes for all of us. You know, I mean, you can reach out, mention us, tweet at us, message us, and we'll interact back with you. And we're part of a network here. We're not by ourselves anymore.
Nope.
We're on a probation period.
We still on that?
This is only all new number 3.
This is all new number 3. The King of Trio special kind of doesn't really count, I guess, but So this is 3. We need to do 2 more. He never received the essay. I got an email. I got a thing saying the other day.
It's okay.
But
just tell him it's 4 pages of.
It's a work. He ain't getting it.
Yeah, it's 4 pages of that. Just let him imagine that.
Yeah, soon to be named network. It's called on Twitter. It's at STBN Network. Soon to be named network. Like I mentioned, Longbox Heroes is LF Chikara and Roker the Joker's podcast about comic books.
Great podcast.
Great podcast, man. If you're into comic books, definitely check them out. They talk new, old. They even talk wrestling sometimes. They laugh. You could tell that they've been friends for a long time. You know, the way the conversation goes with those guys. And Podvocacy is another one put on by Kincannon. Good friend of the show. There's other Puzzle Warriors. And I forget the other ones. I'm sorry for the other guys. But, I mean, we're going to have to get the names of those.
But there's a good diversity on the network. You've got wrestling, comic books, pop culture, TV shows, all sorts of stuff. I'm pretty sure you'll find something that is of your liking or one of your interests other than wrestling, because if you're watching us, it's because you like wrestling. But there's other stuff going on there. So we definitely encourage you guys to check them out. And I think that's a wrap, guys. Anything else you guys want to add?
A-Treat Soda is still not a sponsor of the show. Still, that door is. So one doesn't throw that out there.
Yeah, I mean, we put them over pretty hard.
I'm going to say it every show until it happens.
Yeah, so. Until they send us a case of A-Treat Soda each, and we can say official sponsor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to need to get in line with those guys, because we're going to need to make that happen.
Yeah. All I have to say, just to add, the Mets clinched a playoff spot yesterday. So go Mets. I'm pretty happy about that. Joey, any closing words?
As a Yankee fan, you suck.
Dude, you're in Buffalo. All right. Until next time, guys. Take it easy.
Peace.
Deuces.